The Israeli newspaper Haaretz tried to run a hit piece against us, decided they didn't like my answers mid-interview, and hung up on me. Luckily, I recorded the whole thing. Chuck Yoked, a New Jersey-based writer for Haaretz, emailed me last week asking if he could interview me about our film, The Encampments, which is about the student movement in solidarity with Gaza. I agreed, and we set up a Zoom call. But as soon as the interview started, his first question was, why didn't you include anything about the Jewish students at Columbia who were spit on and assaulted? And I said pretty plainly back, who are these students? And there was dead silence. And he tries asking this again, same thing. And at this point, I noticed he wasn't actually running a recording on the Zoom call, but was instead typing down what I was saying. So out of an abundance of caution, I started running a voice memo on my end. And this is where it starts.
I mean, what happened? I mean, tell me about. I mean, I'm curious. I don't know about who was spit on. Which Jewish students were spit on?
Okay.
After I asked him more to tell me about this alleged anti-Semitic spitting incident, he tells me to read Columbia's report about it.
But for example, there was a report by Columbia University after that the way they handled anti-Semitism, and they admitted they failed in the way they handled that.
At this point, it should probably already be clear that this guy hasn't read the report himself, because if he had read the report, he would know that in the 91 pages, there are 2 quotes from students who claim they were spit on, and there's no actual evidence it happened. There are no photos, no videos, no verifiable testimony. Mind you, during those 2 weeks, Columbia's campus was probably the most photographed and videographed square mile on the planet. The politicians and the media have been trying to portray the Columbia encampment as this den of violence and anti-Semitism, but if this was the case, how is there not a single video of Jewish students being attacked? Furthermore, according to the citations in the report, these 2 quotes were taken from listening sessions facilitated by Hillel, a pro-Israel Jewish organization on campus. In our film, we interview a university whistleblower who suggests a lot of these incidents were concocted or inflated by pro-Israel students on campus. That's corroborated by the large number of Jewish students in our footage who participated in the encampment. What's so ironic about his obsession with the mythical spitting incident is that there are loads of videos of people who support Israel attacking the pro-Palestine students, telling them they should be raped, that they should be killed, beating them bloody, and attempting to murder them, like they did at UCLA. As they say, every accusation is a confession.
You know what you're doing. I mean, you obviously, you know what tactic you're using. You're trying to equate anti-Zionism with anti-Semitism. But I haven't, what actual anti-Semitism took place? Can you tell me?
Okay. So stories that you can find online.
Name one then. Name one story. Tell me, give me one story.
Okay. Okay.
Then he goes further into his own speculation, saying, you'd be naive to think that the students there believe that Israel has a right to exist alongside a Palestinian state.
And I think you're being naive if you pretend that if you ask most of the protesters there, you think Israel should exist alongside Palestinian state, most of them would say no, Israel has no right to exist. To pretend otherwise, So there's one thing to say, end the war and have two-state solution, rather from the river to the sea.
This rhetoric about Israel's right to exist is a cover for saying that an apartheid system has a right to exist, to keep excluding the occupied Palestinian people from returning to their native land. This is why we all understand that apartheid South Africa, or monarchical France, didn't have the right to exist because their forms of government were rejected as oppressive. The most ironic part of this argument is that people who support Israel always say that Palestinians want to wipe Israel off the face of the earth, when it's Israel that's actually wiping Gaza off the face of the earth. It's the Palestinian state that's been denied, and it's the Palestinians who are fighting for their right to exist. Again, every accusation is a confession. Next, he asked me about the claim that Columbia is invested in weapons manufacturers and asked me if I believe this to be the case, as if it's a matter of opinion.
The claim that the university is invested in weapon manufactured, right? Is that something that you personally believe is the case? Is it something that you investigate, or you just bring it from the opinion of the students? Or you believe there is merit to that?
No, I mean, it's not an opinion. Colombia is invested in companies directly and indirectly through their holdings in index funds. So they have stocks in companies that are complicit in war crimes. That's a fact.
This isn't an opinion, and it's something the students have documented quite thoroughly over the course of several years they've been fighting this campaign to get Colombia to divest from companies complicit in genocide. He tries to trip me up on the details of how these companies are complicit, but he clearly doesn't know that I helped write the divestment resolution at my school when I was in college.
I believe they're also invested in Caterpillar, which builds the D9 bulldozers. In Caterpillar. And General Electric.
How are they involved? What connection to the war?
General Electric? General Electric makes the engine for the AH-64 Apache helicopter, which is the attack helicopter that Israel used.
AH-64?
AH-64 Apache helicopter, yes.
The interview goes on pretty normally for the next few minutes until he asks me why I think Colombia decided to arrest their students on April 18th, which sparked the global encampment movement. I told him Colombia arrested their students because they're beholden to their donors who support Israel. His follow-up question is crazy.
I mean, that's Colombia's agenda, is to they are beholden to their donors. So when their donors say something like, we don't want pro-Palestine protests on our campus, they listen.
What about the money from the donors support Israel? But there are many reports about money coming from the Gulf countries, from Saudi Arabia, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, all these, Qatar. How does that play a role in the way the university is reacting?
The thing about this comment that's so revealing is that the Gulf countries, specifically the two countries he mentions, the UAE and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, have normalized relations with Israel. They've basically abandoned the Palestinian people in their time of greatest need. If anything, Gulf money going into Middle East studies departments and Islamic centers at American universities is undermining the Palestinian cause and defanging these departments. So he's actually making my point about pro-Israel money, but I don't even think he realized that.
Is it coming from private individuals? Is it coming from the state? Is it coming to Columbia University? Are you saying it's going to the students? Because that's something that has been, people are saying, oh, the students were funded by like outside groups, all this. Is that what you're saying? I'm not sure what you're saying.
I'm saying about Google later, about reports about Arab countries donating $8 billion to Ivy League universities.
Okay.
That's it. You can check later if you want.
Okay. The Gulf countries also support Israel, so.
Yeah.
I mean, well, hold on. I mean, you're talking about the Gulf countries, Saudi Arabia, UAE. I mean, they're trying to normalize with Israel, so I'm not really sure that.
How do you feel about the decision to deport Mahmoud Khalil?
The last question he asked was how I feel about the abduction of Mahmoud. Here was my answer, which made him completely lose it.
This is the logical extreme of the Israel lobby and Zionism in America. They know they've lost the argument. They know they've completely lost the younger generation, which is exactly what the encampment movement showed. So they're now trying to they're just trying to make it illegal to support Palestine. They're trying to ban free speech because they know they've lost the argument. There was a poll that came out, a week or two ago that said that now the majority of Americans, both Republican and Democrat, have negative views of Israel. I mean, Israel's...
Listen, okay.
Yes.
I'll be honest with you. I don't think my editors will publish it. I can talk to them and maybe email you back if I see that they are... I don't think they're going to publish this manifest. I just don't want to waste your time and my time. I don't feel comfortable sharing an opinion of someone who says that no Jewish students was attacked, part of the students.
You're putting words in my mouth. I asked you to tell me about the incidents you're referring
I'm not
to.
aware of any. If you were there for months and months and you're not aware of any students who was attacked, then there's no point of this interview.
Sorry. I never said no.
None of them was attacked. Listen, talk to my editor. I don't want to waste my time.
Tell me who it was.
Check later. Check later the reports, and I'll talk to you later.
You're the one.
Right now, I feel like it's It's a waste of both of our times, I'll be honest with you.
No,
Anyway,
no,
Ken,
no.
appreciate your time.
No, this is it's obvious it's a waste of your time because you're not getting the answers you want. That's pathetic. That's pathetic. I mean, if you want to spin a certain narrative, he just closed the interview. He closed the interview. That's amazing.
Haaretz presents itself as the liberal, open-minded newspaper in Israeli society, and this guy made a point of saying that several times on our call. And yet here they are, hanging up on their own interview because they didn't like my answers, going as far as to subtly encourage me to change my answers to get this interview published. But the whole point of our work at Breakthrough and this film is to stop catering to what the mainstream media considers respectable. So yeah, not gonna happen. Israel's PR strategy has always been to make itself out to be the victim, which is exactly what you're seeing on this call. This journalist took an interview about a film about a genocide and the destruction of all of Gaza's universities and somehow still makes himself out to be the victim. The idea that it's the students camping out on lawns who are violent and hateful, and not the nuclear-armed superpower stomping off against a largely defenseless population, is just the latest insane narrative that Israel's trying to spin in its fraudulent victimhood narrative. It should come as no surprise that the people who've been defending Israel's barbarity for the last 18 months are now facing isolation, alienation, and social consequences. But no, there's no proof these students got spit on.